Hello, everybody. This is another episode of the What's Happening podcast. Today we have a very special guest. This person is probably the only person I can go to whenever there's something on my mind, no matter what it is, good or bad. I can go talk to him about it. It's my dad, Andrew Schafer.
Hey, everybody.
And Andrew, you're or should I say dad? Shouldn't call you Andrew, I guess. It would be weird. But you're a high school teacher at Mitchell.
Yeah.
And you teach game design, correct?
Yep, I teach game programming.
Game programming, okay. And what does that entail? Just tell everybody.
Well, we basically use Unity 3D.
Okay.
Shout out to them for creating, we basically work on creating a single game the entire school year.
Okay.
So the students get a really good in-depth look at what it's like to actually be a programmer.
Okay.
And to see what it's like to actually program a game. And the game that we make is very small and very simple compared to most of the games that you see.
Yeah.
Like like Call of Duty and all of these other ones.
Fortnite, yeah.
Yeah. But and I really emphasize to the kids. So each kid is working on making this game throughout the entire year.
Okay.
And so, we put hours and hours into it, but it's only one person working on it.
Mm.
So they really do get a good look at all of the things that it takes to be able to create a video game.
Yeah. But
they also see that it's when they look at the credits at the end of a game.
Yeah. And
you see there's hundreds of people that have worked on that game for most of the time. It's over a year at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And to see how much it actually takes to make one of those video games.
Yeah, definitely.
So they really get a really in-depth look at all of that.
Yeah. Well, I know gaming is huge, and one of the recent games where I guess the creators and like the programmers, the coders got a lot of credit is Red Dead Redemption 2.
Oh yeah.
And it's pretty much like Grand Theft Auto just with like Old West pretty much. And I heard there's an article out there that the programmers and people that worked on that game worked over 100 hours a week.
Really?
Easily. And
it's a lot of the gaming companies and actually, even like Google and Microsoft and all these other companies that have a lot of programmers.
Mm-hmm.
The programmers are the premier guys
mm-hmm.
at the company.
They
are what make the company go. Mm-hmm. And they basically live, eat, and sleep. That's why they call it the Google campus.
Yeah.
They basically live, eat, and sleep at that, on the campus. And
mm-hmm.
they don't leave. They have restaurants right there. They have a cafeteria. They have places to sleep. They have
mm-hmm.
all kinds of stuff there. They have daycares right there.
Yeah.
It's a huge industry, but they really expect people to live it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure.
Definitely a lifestyle, even like the whole, just the programming and coding lifestyle, like getting into the zone for whether it be a day, 2 days. I've heard some people go a week just coding straight.
Oh yeah.
They take a break to drink some Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's definitely one of those jobs where you can get into a high with it.
Yeah, like a good flow state.
I have kids that get so obsessed with it that they copy all their files over to a USB drive and take it home and work on it at home, and then they come back and work on it. And it's really one of those things you could definitely get obsessed with.
Yeah.
And that's why there's a lot of talk and stuff always about in the programming industry, like speed and taking things that will keep you going constantly.
Yeah.
Even like meth and stuff like that are I don't think it's an overwhelming part of the industry, but there are people that do that type of thing.
Or just like Adderall. You know, I've heard Adderall is just big in general.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people take Adderall, but I think the whole like coding and programming community is interesting because it's a form of creating.
It is,
but it's not like a form of creating we've ever seen before.
Right.
You know, we have like artistry and music and all these other things, but now through technology, we've found out another doorway for kids to, you know, create. And it's like we were saying, it's nothing like we've seen before. You know, it's typing on a computer.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's a huge, I mean, once you get into it, and if you learn the syntax of the programming languages and stuff like that, it's hugely creative. Mm-hmm. And that's what I try to. Of course, you talk to most high school kids about it. Yeah. And you if a teacher would start off trying to teach them JavaScript or C# or whatever, just like, okay, this is what this means and stuff like that, they would be bored out of their mind with that. Yeah. So I start teaching them, you know, from the creative standpoint, and we use Unity to do a lot of modeling and, you know, creating the terrain in the background and getting into using their asset store to be able to download assets and all of these kinds of things that it doesn't necessarily take any kind of programming to be able to do with the game engine. And then we get into you know, getting a character in the game. Okay. And then they're like, well, how do we make the character move, Mr. Schafer? How do we? And then that's when you get into the programming. Yeah. It's like now they're interested in it. They see the creative side of it. Yeah. And so it's really, you know, I think it's a good process that we have with it. So
that's cool. So I mean, you have to kind of take, like with all learning, you have to go step by step. But the most important thing is exposing it to them in a way that's going to inspire like curiosity.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think that's what a lot of people like when a lot of people start to get into something, whether it be like conspiracy theories or technology, whether they be old or young, the point that they are curious enough in it, like they're exposed to it enough where they're curious about it and they can see the potential with the subject is always like that like financial like foundation.
Sure.
Or not financial, that foundation.
Yeah. I have so many kids that, you know, they just need a class to take. It sounds interesting. It sounds fun. Yeah. But it also it has the word programming in the title too. So so it sounds difficult.
Yeah, there's that stigma that comes along with that.
And learning the Unity 3D game engine is not. I mean, there's a learning curve to that for sure. It is higher level, but you know, I have a lot of kids that first couple of weeks of class they're lost. They have no idea what's going on. Yeah. They will tell me that, you know, to my face. And but I say just hang in there, stick with it, keep going. You'll get it. You know, you'll start to understand. And after a month, you know, I've had so many kids say, "Oh, I didn't know I could do, you know, this game programming. I didn't know it would be this easy. I didn't know I could catch on to it." And so it's really something that anybody can do. You just have to have the desire to do it. And at least I'm exposing them to it, so they know, you know.
That when they do play a video game, like you were saying, that all these people and there's a bunch of work and it's a lot more complicated than the video game portrays.
Everything we do is run on programming. I mean, there's apps for everything, and those apps are created with the programming languages that we were talking about earlier, and so them having a basic understanding of that is really important. And
it's huge.
It's hugely important for them to understand that nowadays. Yeah. But it's also, important for them to understand that like even with AI,
Mm-hmm.
there's a basic foundation of programming underneath that.
Yeah.
It might be a complex algorithm or different things like that make it run.
Mm-hmm.
But we still control all of that programming.
Mm.
That's why I'm kind of skeptical to see if there's ever going to be any like true AI.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's interesting. Um, I'm scared about it. Sam Harris is pretty scared about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's really.
I haven't heard Sam Harris talk about that.
Yeah.
I've heard him talk about a lot of stuff, but not
He's
AI.
Among the things he likes to comment on consistently is artificial intelligence.
Does he know anything about technology?
Well, there's people more well versed than he is, but he's probably smarter than I am about it. So he knows a little bit.
But he wouldn't be like a Bill Gates.
No, but Elon Musk feels the same way.
Yeah.
He's just terrified. I don't know. If I was Elon Musk, I'd say that too, just to fool with people, mess with people.
Yeah.
You know?
There's probably a purpose, though, behind it because who's the, the guy that had, like Parkinson's disease?
Oh, Stephen Hawking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he...
He had his...
Is that right? He had Parkinson's disease?
It was ALS.
ALS?
Yeah.
He felt the same way too.
He was pretty terrified.
And he basically said that we need to stop investigating that because it could be the death of us.
Yeah.
So, obviously those people know something or understand something that I don't understand about it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're at the forefront of the technology. They see all the new stuff. Like we only see what's released.
Yeah.
Like we see Sophia. Mm-hmm. Like what else is there besides Sophia? Is there actually like a computer out there that's like that can self-generate its own program to a degree?
I don't know. I thought it was Google. Was it Google or Facebook that had
those two computers that started the language?
These two computers. Well, it was. The computer's job was to make small talk with people on a telephone on the on the other end.
Yeah.
And so it was able to generate that kind of conversation with a human being.
Yeah.
As a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were testing it out, and they were having one computer talk to the other one just to test it out.
Yeah.
And they the computers ended up creating their own language.
Yeah. So nobody knew what they were saying.
So nobody knew what they were saying or what they were actually talking about.
Yeah.
But the two computers did.
Yeah.
And it was modifying it so quickly, so they shut the whole thing down.
Yeah.
Based on that. And if it's that, all of these things are based on complex, the algorithms that they create.
Yeah.
And if the algorithm is that, is that generic, I would say.
Yeah.
Where it gives the, the computer freedom to choose different things and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would be possible, but I'm still skeptical.
But in that situation, though, like, if the computer is able to just generate its own program, like, pretty generically, like you were saying, would the computer still have the capacity to know that, like, we're aware of a higher being? A lot of people like to think of a god. Would the computers have that awareness? Would it? Well, do you think it would have?
We would be the higher being.
Yeah, I know.
To the computer.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the computer would be all knowing, right? To a degree.
Well, the computer would be all. I don't know the right word for it. It would be all factual. It would be all,
Yeah, but if it was like actually intelligent, it'd take in like the facts and ideas, right? Like not only just like the.
Yeah, but that's where I don't know if the computer would ever be able to truly have the same type of emotion
Hmm.
that's in us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's where, what I'm saying is everything that a computer would be able to respond to or like deduct from a situation would be objective.
Yeah.
There's
something that it can base it off of, right?
An objective truth,
mm-hmm.
or something that's not true.
Yeah.
A right or a wrong.
Yeah.
Right? An objective right or wrong.
Uh-huh.
They don't understand, like, in the case of murder,
mm-hmm.
right? If you tell a computer murder's wrong, you can never murder.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there are situations
mm-hmm.
in our everyday lives, right, where, it's like we have the commandment, thou shalt not kill.
Yeah.
But it's not always cut and dry with our morals, and the morality mm-hmm. and the emotions and the ethics and everything behind murder.
Yeah.
And that's why we have different ways to be able to, to interpret laws and stuff like that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And that, we talk about this type of thing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's,
yeah.
Like when you said at the beginning of the podcast that, that I'm the one guy you can come to and talk to about anything.
Yeah.
And I first of all, I really appreciate that. And
yeah.
I think that's really awesome. But it is true.
Yeah.
I mean,
some of the stuff we talk about isn't fun to talk about for people. They're not appealing subjects at all.
No. And but you and I are able to be at the same level and to talk about all of those things without judging each other.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to be able to talk to somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
That is, like ultimately, what we're talking about right now is the type of conversation that the leaders of our country and the leaders of our world should be having.
Yeah.
Right? We talk about that all the time too. Is that, like Sam Harris and, and Jordan Peterson and these guys should be the ones in Congress debating true ethical and moral issues like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they matter. They are, that's why so many people are interested in, the podcast that they had about those, about those two, having debates on all of these issues and stuff like that.
They're held in arenas with like 3,000 people just sold out.
Yeah, and they're packed.
Yeah.
And, these types of issues and these types of moral and, the ethical questions that really have to do with all of our society
mm-hmm.
are what our leaders in Congress should be talking about.
Yeah.
Rather than being concerned about a border wall.
Yeah.
And like arguing like a little fucking 5-year-old child.
Exactly.
About, I'm not getting my border wall.
Yeah.
And it's like, that should be the farthest thing from our leaders' mind.
Exactly, yeah.
There's so many more important issues,
mm-hmm.
And having someone that is a deep enough thinker to actually think about these things and to think about, like Sam Harris. I'm not 100% in agreement with everything Sam Harris says, but a lot of what he says is right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what's the difference between God and Santa Claus?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, they're two made up things.
It basically, it's like, but the main difference is that, we're told from, the time that we're little tiny babies that God is great.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't believe with him, you're going to you're gonna fry in hell because of it.
Yeah.
So, what little kid is not going to run around yelling about how great God is because he doesn't want to burn in hell?
Yeah.
He doesn't
exactly.
know any difference,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So why? I mean, but with Santa Claus,
yeah,
at
one point in the life we admit to the kid that it's all phooey. It's all
right.
It's all woo,
And it becomes evident to the kid, over time, because we are really bad at lying and making shit up.
Yeah.
That, it's like over time the kid realizes, even if we don't ever tell them that Santa's not real, the kid realizes that Santa's not real.
Yeah, at one point or another,
Yeah.
It's like...
I mean, because their brain gets developed enough to understand, well, we don't even have a chimney, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does he get in the house?
Yeah.
Why are you letting this strange man in the house?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, can reindeer really fly? I saw a reindeer at the zoo the other day, and they didn't have wings,
fly,
and they couldn't fly.
Yeah, and it's like, the thing about this is a really good comparison, because in order to keep up the truth that Santa is real and that reindeer fly and all that stuff, you have to fill it in with more magic and more superstition.
Exactly.
Right.
It would be so outrageously great.
Yeah.
That it would be obvious that Santa Claus is like a supreme being, right? Yeah.
Like he's so magical, and this is like, then there's a bunch of other questions like, well, then why does Santa only help people one day of the year if he's so awesome?
But yet he's everywhere, so he knows.
He's watching you all the time. Yeah.
He knows if you're good or bad.
Yeah.
And even if you're bad, he's still going to give you a present.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like we fill kids with like a lie, and we kind of make Santa God, and we're like, if you're not good, you're going to get a piece of coal, or you're not going to get anything. If you're good, you're still going to get presents. But there's a resistance to still get kids presents. There's a resistance to not give kids presents even though they're bad.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're just filling kids with like this false sense of, I guess, nobility. Like I should be good for this reason, but even if you're not good, like
they still get what they want
still
anyway.
Get what I want. Like once the kid figures that out, he can really act however he wants, right?
Exactly.
Or he or she.
And it's basically the same thing the church teaches too, right? It's like, I mean, I had a friend like this in college, and he, both of us were born and raised Catholic, and
same.
He was, so, I mean, not that he was a bad person, but he had no problem with partying and,
just the atmosphere that the church demonizes.
Right, exactly. Just, basically he had the attitude that, throughout the rest of the week, he could do whatever the hell he wanted.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yeah.
And, as long as he goes to church on Sunday, he's going to be forgiven, and, everything's going to be great.
Yeah.
And that's basically the same type of concept that we're using with that. But it's, we've talked about this too. You and I have talked about this a lot too, that, if you take, like the religion and the all of the other falsities out of Christmas.
Yeah.
Are you killing Christmas? Are you killing the season and stuff like that? And just think of a little kid, like a kid that's 4, 5, 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And, so you take all of that out of all of that out, there's no Santa, there's no Jesus, no nothing.
Pretty much all the superstition out.
Take all the falsities having to do with Christmas out, right? are you ruining it for the little kids? That's basically the argument you're going to get from people is, well, you're ruining it for the kids.
Yeah. Well, what's Christmas then? It's like, well, you can still have the gift giving.
Yeah.
You know, you can still have the hot chocolates. You can even still have all the lights. You know, and there's no problem with that.
And everybody, you know, let's be honest.
Yeah.
What kids get excited for is getting those great gifts that they get.
Yeah. But the adults
being able to spend more time with their family and play games and do all this fun stuff that they do with their family.
Yeah.
And you could still do all of that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all of that could still be part of our culture.
Yeah.
Because it's a great thing. Kids would still get excited for it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at all of these other, kinds of religions.
Yeah.
That don't have Christmas.
That don't have a Santa.
And that don't have a Santa. And that, I mean, it's like,
yeah,
they still, I mean, take a Jewish, what is that?
Hanukkah.
Elf on a Shelf thing.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Elf on a Shelf.
That they have. I don't know what that's, I don't know anything about being Jewish or whatever, but that's, I think that's a thing to them. And it's like, you can make up all of these other things, but the fact is that, as long as the kids understand that we're just trying to make it fun for them.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to brainwash them.
Exactly.
Then it would probably be okay.
Yeah. I think, that's the approach I think I'm going to take with my kid. I'm not going to even tell him about Santa, Why even expose him to that? If his friends are going to talk about it, I'm going to tell him, just there's no Santa. I'm just going to break it to him right there. I just be like, around your friends, you can't say anything because they have different beliefs. I'm going to treat it just like religion.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that, like we were saying, you can still have all the presents and everything, take out all the falsities and the superstition. And we think of Christmas as the season of giving, right?
Yeah.
And I pretty much just preach that to my kid,
Right.
And it feels good to give. It's scientifically proven that we get the same kind of dopamine kick that we get from any drug or doing something enjoyable or from our phone or notification on our phone. We get the same dopamine kick or even more so when we give and help other people out.
Yeah.
And so why not just make it about that?
Right.
And
for Thanksgiving, of course, we have a tradition in our family of, eating a huge meal. And watching football, Thanksgiving. Maybe even going out and playing some football, like the good old Kennedys used to do and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But we also have we also have a family tradition that we started where we put together these these bags, it's like a survival bag basically for the homeless.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we research what's good for the homeless to get and some good things to put into each pack. You know?
Like blankets,
and water. Yeah, water, blankets, socks,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
good,
the socks are a big one,
Good wool socks. And
power bars,
Yeah, so we put all of this together and it's planned for probably a month before Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And then we put together as many of these things as we can. It's like usually we put them in a backpack or something like that. We have all these old backpacks laying around our house, so we just use those.
Yeah.
And we go down and hand them out to people.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be always right on Thanksgiving Day, but that's But we do it
around
usually,
that time of year.
Around that time of year.
Yeah.
And so. So that's, a tradition too that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's people that will talk to you about, the reason they're homeless is because they don't have God in their lives.
Mm.
Or they've gone astray of what, the foundations of what.
Yeah, they lost Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really, when first of all, we do that because um, we want to show thanks for what we have, for being lucky, yes, we've worked hard for what we have and everything else, but we've also been pretty lucky. There's a lot of people that work as hard as we do that haven't been as lucky as we are.
Definitely.
And so we're giving back, to society and showing our thanks. To society for all of that. But, the idea that these people are homeless just because most of them, and, you'll back me up with this, I'm sure. Most of the homeless people, when we give them the backpacks and stuff like that, the first thing they say is praise God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, God be, it's like they think that we're like real Christians, and that we're
like serving God.
That we're doing it just because of our faith or whatever.
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with it, and that's not why we're we're doing this activity at all.
Yeah.
But
we're pretty much the complete opposite.
And they may or not even believe that either.
Yeah.
But they're just saying it because, that's what this is, a source of them getting something, right?
Yeah.
Of value.
Yeah.
So they want to prop them up and say,
yeah.
Praise God or whatever. It's the same concept as, as a little kid.
Yeah.
Like a little kid, when Sam and Gabe were growing up, it really got to the point where everybody knew that they didn't believe in Santa Claus.
Yeah.
We actually told them that there was no Santa Claus. I don't know. They might have been 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they were like, no, Dad, there is a Santa Claus, and he needs to bring me this present this year. Because, it's like, so just because they believe in that, or, it's like, the idea that they're going to get what they want out of the whole situation if they just say, I believe in this one thing.
Yeah.
That gives them the incentive to say that.
That gives them this false hope that just because I believe in Santa and I wish for this from Santa, that I'll get it. Just like the delusion of prayer.
When they know deep down, they've been told to their face that there is no Santa Claus.
Yeah. They
still want to believe it because they want to get what they wished for.
Yeah. And it's like it's the same delusion that prayer brings along. When you're praying to God, like, can I please? I'm praying for this. Can I have this? Give me the strength to do this. It's like, man, if you just realize that you can, that's all manifested with inside yourself.
Exactly.
Exactly. And this is something I talked about on my last podcast, is that, this has been a human problem, but I think it's becoming an increasing problem with humans as we, get older as a species, is that we constantly feel the need to look outward for stuff. Whether it be in a bad time or a good time, like you're saying, when people get something good, praise Jesus. It's because of him. It's not because of me, obviously. Why would I be deserving of this if God wouldn't let it? And something bad. Oh, I'm not appeasing to God, or I deserve this because God thinks I deserve this. It's just a delusion. It's like, you need to look inward in situations like that, because there's stuff that you do every day that puts yourself in those situations.
Right.
And just when you push your belief on somebody, it is probably one of the most unattractive things to that person that you could do. If you want to make somebody not believe in it, push it on them. And it's just if somebody wants to know your opinion about a belief, whether it be about a belief with a diet or, veganism, that stuff, or Christianity, if somebody wants to know, then go ahead and tell them about it.
Right.
And that's how that's how you judge. I think that's how we've come to judge like the true leaders of the world and true leaders of society, is that people want to know their thoughts on things. Like that's how we can really judge who the best minds are out there and who the best people are.
Yeah.
It's because they have different opinions. They have good opinions and good ideas, and people want to know those good opinions and good ideas about other ideas,
Or they're able to make sense of things that other people cannot make sense of.
Exactly.
And that's why, again, the dialogue that Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson and these guys are having right now is so popular with everybody, in today's world, is because they're actually addressing the thoughts and feelings people are having about all of this.
Yeah.
And
they're doing it without judging each other.
Exactly. And, you can tell that they, when they're on stage, you can tell that they do actually like each other.
Yeah, they respect each other greatly,
and it really is. I mean, I would say, with what they debate on, I would say I'm mainly on the side of, Sam Harris's, right? I mean, most of what he says makes more sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's some things that even as they debate, you can see Sam Harris, not really backpedaling, but like you can see a light bulb go off on the top of his head with what Jordan Peterson might say to him. And it's the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's why every time that they talk, they're getting closer and closer to, like a resolution.
Yeah.
That is going to be pleasing to just about everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. We saw that in one of the debates we were watching. They were talking about, and Jordan, I think Sam was really going to town about religion and all the bad that has come from like religious thought. And, Jordan Peterson is very much on the side that while religion has, provided us with some of the worst and most horrific things that have happened in the world and in history, it also has gotten us largely to the point where we are today, like morally and technological wise, and just how we
the
do
foundations.
Yeah, the foundations
that we have.
That we have in our Western society. Like that's something we shouldn't ignore. And you saw them come to the resolution, the conclusion that it's dogma. The thing we want to avoid, whether it be religion or not, is dogma.
Right.
Is like believing something to the point where if somebody else doesn't agree with you, they're automatically the enemy.
Right.
Like that.
Or any kind of dogma, basically, like Sam Harris does not put, he puts religion in the same, in the same category as, like the USSR, during the 20th century, right? Yeah. Where, it's dogma that they were preaching, and, the idea that that you believe in this one supreme person to run society, and whatever they say, is the dogma that is put out there.
Yeah.
To to make other people believe or to follow them or whatever. This is how you live your life by. Yeah. It's it's a lot the same. You can correlate it to the North Korean situation right now, where they actually like the North Koreans actually believe that Kim Jong-un is a god, and that his son is the son of God. They it's that dogma right there. Yeah. That is dangerous. Okay.
Yeah.
In like fully just believing something based on 100% faith, and you may even be faced, the idea that you believe in 100% on faith may be the worst idea in the world.
Yeah.
But you are still forced to, to believe it because a book might say it, or
Mm-hmm.
a leader might say it, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So that type of dogma is dangerous.
Very. Yeah.
And that's what Sam Harris points to when he's talking about, like blind faith, basically, in certain things.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's why, it's so crazy because you and I talk about this all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
We don't necessarily believe that Donald Trump is the most evil person in the world.
No, I just think he knows how to play to a crowd, and he's smart.
He knows, but what's scary about him, though, and I think we both agree on this, is that the people that follow him believe his dogma, so wholeheartedly that they're completely blind to everything else.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So he knows that most Republicans that really believe in him, they're going to believe in him no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
definitely.
He's even said, I could go out and shoot somebody, like point blank in the street of New York, and my followers would still love me. Mm-hmm. They'd still love me.
And they would. I'm convinced that they would too.
And it's that type of blind faith and blind belief. Yeah. I mean, first of all, if you're a true, if you're like a true, person, that doesn't believe in the government of the U.S., which, the Republicans, that's one of their, the one Christian of their platforms.
Right. Yeah, like
or whatever.
Very extreme Christian right, definitely. Yeah.
But like one of the parts of the Republican platform is that they don't trust the government, right?
Yeah, they want small government.
Yeah. Yeah. And, the government isn't the answer to everything.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's like, but you're also raised to not trust the government. The worst thing you can do is, and, that's why, like the freedom of the press in this country is so important.
Yeah.
Because no matter who's in power,
the press's
job is to
challenge and try and make the whoever's in power justify their actions.
Exactly.
Have justifiable means.
So we don't trust. We don't. The way that the Constitution is written, we are not supposed to trust anybody in power.
Yeah, exactly.
Because power corrupts, right?
Yeah.
And so like Donald Trump having such a stranglehold on the Republican Party of people who actually are supposed to be believing that they're not supposed to trust anybody in government.
Yeah.
Is just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
Because it actually goes against what they believe.
Yeah. I think when I look at Donald Trump and his whole presidency, the campaign, his first year up until when he gets impeached, when he resigns, or when it just ends. I think of it as one whole Machiavellian, like it's a Machiavellian showcase.
Yeah.
Of how to perfectly come about power and how to maintain the power. Because Machiavelli he talks about whether it's better to be loved or feared. And he says, well, if you can do both, it's better to be both.
Right.
And Donald Trump is definitely loved. He's definitely hated and feared.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of the guy.
Yeah.
He can launch a nuclear strike anytime he wants to.
Right.
Yeah,
he can kill me anytime he wants, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. I mean, he essentially could, and it's terrifying. He comes off as a madman. I don't know him personally, but that's what he comes off as.
But then, off of his TV show, which, it does bother me that we elected another celebrity.
Yeah.
Just because he had a familiar face.
Yeah.
But on his TV show, everybody says, he's a racist. Well, he's using that as dogma. When it really comes down to it, John McCain believed in this country and believed in the foundations that we have in government to make this country what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't think Donald Trump believes in any of that.
No.
He just wanted to be president, make sure that he could build his tower in Moscow, and now that he's president, he's going to get one in Mexico City if there's not one already. I mean,
anywhere he wants.
And the way he makes his money is off the royalties off of his name.
Yeah.
He actually doesn't have a business, and he has no income besides that. Now he's going to be making $500,000 for the rest of his life because he'll get the retirement from the president.
Yep.
And he's going to be set for life now, and that's the only reason he wanted to be president.
Yep.
That's it.
And it's like I was saying, it's like a perfect Machiavellian storm where we have like the social media tied in where he's tweeting all the time, and somehow that was appeasing to the masses. And then we have like his use of conspiracy theories and conspiratorial thought amongst everybody on the left and the right.
Mm-hmm.
It was just this perfect storm, and then him saying all the right things, and him coming off as this perfectly authentic person in an inauthentic popularity race, pretty much.
Exactly.
It's like this perfect storm of him utilizing all these factors to attain the highest position in the world.
And that's, like when he swears or when he says, just grab her by the pussy or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, when he does that type of thing, people say, "Oh, he's so authentic."
Yeah.
It's so real.
Yeah. It's like, but like that's true, but like, are we gonna draw a line? Like, are we gonna like say, okay, like we appreciate your authenticity, but we don't think it's morally right, your authenticity.
That's
what you're authentic about.
That's what drives me crazy too. Is he's probably. I mean, not probably. I mean, out of the presidents in my lifetime, let's say, and I was born in 1970.
Yeah.
So, it's like Jimmy Carter, basically, on.
Probably one of the better presidents out there. Jimmy Carter, right?
Well, he was actually a terrible president.
He's like a nice guy.
He's a super nice, genuine person.
Like that's what I was trying to say. He's like the only president.
You're not going to find a better person than
he's like
than Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
But he was a terrible president.
Yeah. It's just too soft.
And he, basically, and his views on a lot of things were just not where we needed him to be at that point to help the country.
Yeah.
But so there's Carter, Reagan, all of these people, and we can argue about the morality of policies and different things like that, but and how they've hurt people, but as far as being a moral, ethical human being, in their private lives, there's no one less moral and less ethical than Donald Trump.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's no other president that has had to pay off
a porn star.
A porn star.
Yeah.
And he's actually done it a couple times.
Yeah.
And I guess the second one just posed for Playboy.
Really?
Wasn't necessarily a porn star.
Huh.
But
Ivanka posed for Playboy too. So
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly a great point.
Yeah.
It's like, during the 80s, there was a woman who won the Miss America pageant, and she just happened to be black.
Uh-huh.
And she, posed right after that. She got paid a lot of money to, to pose in Penthouse.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if she did it before she actually became Miss America or not. But Penthouse published them after she became
the Miss America.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, she got dethroned. There was this huge moral and ethical issue about it, and it's not right, in our society to do that and everything else.
Yeah.
And now, all of those, big time Christian right people who were so opposed to all of that.
Yeah.
Now we actually have a first lady that did pose nude.
Yeah.
In these magazines.
Mm-hmm.
We have a president who
admittedly has had affairs.
Yeah. And is is not afraid to tell people on like national television that he grabs people by the pussy and is real. I mean, is just as vulgar as they possibly come.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And yet they have no problem with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
There's got to be, what is the underlying issue? Is it only, are they only worried about taxes?
Well, here's.
I mean,
we're seeing.
What
this,
do they like about him so much?
Well, and this will probably be like the last thing we're talking about. We've done over an hour already.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gone really quick, but I think we're seeing this because we talked about R. Kelly the other day too, where people give up their morals before anything else. It seems like they give up their morals and like the foundations for what they know is right and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
They give those up when it's at the stake, when it's like at the risk of giving, like not liking somebody that they liked previously. And it's like once everybody loved Donald Trump before the presidency. Like, let's be honest, we all watched The Apprentice.
Yeah.
You know, like that was my generation's TV show.
Sure.
You fired. You know, that's such a classic line.
Yeah.
And nobody really had an extraordinarily big problem with Donald Trump before the presidency either. Right. And so, and it's just like people, now that he is the president and he's under a microscope more and more, where the layers are being pulled back and we really see what kind of guy this really is. He doesn't really care about what other people think of him, no matter how bad it is. You know, it's like sadly, people are okay with that because they have this liking and they have this image of the guy before this time.
Yeah.
And like same thing with R. Kelly, I think.
Yeah.
Before he peed on that girl that one time in that video, you know, like he was doing it before then, obviously.
Yeah.
But nobody knew about it until that video. But people still loved him. And it didn't even become a huge thing until 2018. Like, that's 16 years from the time that video came out, and people are making a big deal out of it.
Exactly.
You know?
And so, you know, so you're saying that, like, with Donald Trump, if it came out with Donald Trump, like the P video.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there actually is a P video of him peeing on a hooker in Russia.
A Russian hooker, that's the dirt.
You're saying that people wouldn't...
I don't think people would
even care about it.
I've talked with people who voted with Donald Trump, and I've asked them, I was like, what if he did, you know, what if Russia did help him out, you know, give him a little, even if it was just spending money, you know, a little side money.
Yeah.
Even if it was something as little as that, you know, which is treasonous. I mean, let's cut and dry treason.
It's treason.
You know?
I mean,
and
it's written into our law that you know, a person running, you know, for president cannot be aided by any foreign country.
Yeah. I mean
it's written in there.
Yeah.
So I mean, any kind of aid he got from Russia is treason.
Yeah. And so I've asked people, like, you know, if that is true, and it's, you know, more and more becoming like reality that it is going to be true, would you like take back your vote pretty much? Like, would you regret voting for him? And most people have told me no.
Yeah.
You know, because I think society right now is kind of based on this Machiavellian principle where we respect people who get into power. We respect power. You know, like, and that's the only thing that matters right now in our society.
And you have to be powerful to get into power.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about this where, you know, to me, where the point, you know, where Hillary Clinton lost the election was that debate.
I think that was the second one.
I think it was the second debate.
Yeah.
But it's when he, you know, she even talked afterwards. It felt like he was stalking me. Right? He freaking intimidated her.
Yeah.
And you could see it on her face. You could see she was physically intimidated by him.
Yeah. He's a big guy, too.
Oh, yeah, he is.
6'6",
and he's,
least, I think,
dangerous looking. You know, I mean, he's
not skinny.
Like, he could, he could go off on you at any moment, you know. And the best thing she could have done is stand up to that, you know, and make him, like, lose his temper on her on stage. But she was so physically intimidated by him.
Yeah.
In, you know, in that debate that, to me, that is where she lost the election because she looked weak.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And it's
people don't respect that.
No.
And I think that happened. If you watch the Republican debates, you know, for the nomination when he was debating, you know, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, all those Jeb Bush did the same thing to them, bullied them.
Yeah,
he's like Jeb, you're boring, you're soft, Jeb. We would want you as president.
And he had no comeback.
No, because
nobody had any comeback.
Well, in nowadays world, nobody in everyday life, if a person walks up to you and calls you soft and a pussy, what are you gonna do?
Exactly.
Nobody's first reaction is to fire back and be just as impolite
because you're not prepared for it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's how nobody is raised like that. You know, nobody's been taught to deal with people like that. If somebody's being an asshole to you, you walk away. Don't escalate the situation.
Right.
You know, like very few times does a person like fire back.
Yeah.
But that's like the type A alpha male personality that Donald Trump is. That if you fire something at him, he's gonna come right back at you. It's something twice as bad. Like, doesn't even have to be true.
Right.
You know. But most people,
it's not true most of the time.
Yeah, it's not. He's just talking shit.
Yeah, exactly.
But most people aren't that type A alpha male, and if they are, they don't act. They've realized that that's not the best way to treat people.
No.
You know.
But his base,
love it.
They think that is, I mean,
authentic.
It's so admirable about him, right?
It's respectable
that he's. It's something they so admire that he's able to just, you know, stand up to anybody and say anything to anybody.
Yeah. And it's like, it's going back to that authenticity, you know?
Yeah.
Like, nobody liked how Hillary Clinton didn't stand up to Trump. It wasn't like, hey, shut the fuck up. You know, just one time. If she just, Donald, shut up. Please be quiet. You know, one of those, one time.
No more lies, you asshole.
Yeah.
Come on, be serious.
One time, put him in his place, which she kind of did in the first debate.
She did. She did a lot of it in the first debate.
Which she wasn't. I mean, it was more passive. Like, she would like roll her eyes, you know, laugh at him, like all like politely.
And she'd say, "Come on, Donald."
Yeah.
Like he's Donald the Duck.
Yeah, and it's like, if she would have done that, I think it would have went way better. I don't know if she would have won still.
No. But
it was really.
She had to stand up to him more than she did. I mean,
yeah, and it's really telling. I mean, it kind of depicted the Republic, like the stereotypes of the Republican base and then the Democratic base perfectly. You know,
but even on the Democratic side, you know, it's really difficult. I mean, I know the person I wanted to be president.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she would be a really good president because she's a policy wonk.
Yeah,
and knows the policy,
mm-hmm.
but. You know, like Donald Trump basically proved to people who were on the fence that in the face of adversity, he's going to have the nerve.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's not going to back down to anybody.
No.
Yeah.
And which is not always the best thing to do.
Yeah. We need to be diplomatic.
It probably is not the best thing to do most of the time.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about.
Well, because everybody nowadays has a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
You know?
And, like, I mean, you know, things like NAFTA, having friends is good policy.
It's important.
And his cabinet has tried to, you know, convince him of that. It's like, you know,
you need friends, Donald.
We don't have the military in South Korea just because of North Korea.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of other reasons to
to keep watch out there.
You know, yeah. It's like we're, you know, they're our friend.
Yeah.
And it keeps trade open with them a little more. I mean, if they feel like we're helping, you know, to protect them a little bit by having their military there,
yeah,
they're going to be more willing to trade with us and stuff like that. And I mean, it's like there's a bigger issue than just the military being there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, he's had a hard time with that.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand that.
He doesn't like to back down. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and he hates these treaties and he hates but it's really it's good to have friends in the long run.
Yeah.
But I want to lighten up the topic real quick before we end.
Okay.
Talk about the NFL playoffs.
Oh yeah, the Cowboys.
Cowboys are still in it.
Yep, you are an avid Cowboys fan.
Huge Cowboy fan
since birth, pretty much.
Yep. And goes back to the old days when the Cowboys were the only team on the television every Sunday.
Yep.
And I was born and raised in North Dakota. People ask me all the time, "Are you from Dallas?" And are you from Texas? Why are you a Cowboy fan?
Because let's be honest, we look like Texas people too. I mean, we're bigger.
We could be.
We're bigger, hardier people.
Could be.
We could come off Texas like.
Other than we don't have any kind of Texas accent, we could come across as looking a little Texan. Yeah. But being a Cowboy fan for life, I'm really pumped about the guys they have. Dak Prescott and
Ezekiel
Elliott and
Sean Lee on that side of the ball and the other side.
Sean Lee isn't even a starting linebacker anymore, Noah.
And is he injured still?
No,
he's just not playing.
The two younger linebackers they have.
Do you think they're better than him?
Hell yes, they might be the two best inside linebackers in the whole league.
What's the one? The
Vander Esch.
He's a badass man.
He's a rookie, and the other guy's name is Smith.
Yeah,
and they're just about identical to each other. They're like 6'4", 230 pounds.
Yeah,
and they can run. Both of them run like a 4.4 40.
Yeah,
and they're not afraid.
Yeah,
they fill holes like that.
Yeah,
I mean they are in people's faces.
Yeah.
They don't miss open field tackles. They're just tough as nails.
Yeah.
Plus, they're fast as hell, where they can match up with running backs and
tight ends.
Tight ends and stuff like that. And
yeah,
there's the other parts of the Cowboys' defense is really good too. I mean, they have a really good defensive line. They have some good D-backs this year.
Yeah.
But those two linebackers have made them a premier defense this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Vander Esch is so fun to watch.
Oh man,
I don't know if it's just because, we're football people.
Yeah.
But I feel like whenever anybody watches the Cowboys defense, you're constantly seeing him at least because he's in on every tackle.
And he, just the way that he flies around.
Yeah.
I mean,
he gets after it, dude.
It's so, and, other teams, like the Seahawks last week, they have one linebacker like that.
Yeah.
That Wagner.
Yeah, Wagner.
He's probably as good as both of the linebackers from the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah. He's a stud.
But the Cowboys have two guys like that.
Yeah.
And most teams don't even have a guy like that.
Yeah.
But, to me, that, the Cowboys defense and their toughness and with the level, and this is why I've been on the fence, with Jason Garrett. Like most of my career, I can take him or leave him.
Yeah.
But with all the criticism he's gotten this year, he's shown his toughness as a coach, and that toughness has worn off to the rest of his team.
Yeah.
I mean, he talked about, after they beat the Seahawks, to me, and we can debate this again, but to me, that game with the Seahawks was the most physical game there has been in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
I mean, those two teams, the level of effort that both teams played with was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And anybody who watched that entire game and was disappointed in the game in any way doesn't really understand what the NFL is about. Or I mean, these are guys getting paid millions and millions of dollars. You watch like an NBA game, even in the playoffs. The only people I can equate to playing at this level of effort was Shaq when he had to be carried off the court at the end of the games when the Lakers won.
Yeah.
I know.
I remember what you're talking about, yeah.
But the Celtics and Lakers from the 80s.
Really?
When they played, this is how they played. They played with this kind of effort.
It surprised me you didn't. I agree, but it surprised me you didn't mention the team that LeBron James's Cavaliers, when they came back and beat the Warriors 3-1 when they were down 3-1 in the series.
I think LeBron James's effort in that series was at that level, but both teams' effort weren't at that level.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Talking about both teams. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
And
yeah, because the Golden State Warriors make everything look so easy.
Right.
They just shoot threes.
And the Cavaliers definitely upped the defense and the effort in that.
Well, I remember hearing that LeBron James and Matthew Dellavedova had to be like carted off and like taken and put on an IV because they were too dehydrated after the game. And so like, I was like, those guys.
If you're getting 1 or 2 IVs between the games, you're putting forth a lot of effort. And that's where I thought the effort for the Seahawks and the Cowboys. In football, not only is it effort, but it's the physicality that you're willing to play with. And I do think the Cowboys were the more physical team, and they were able to to wear them down towards the end of the fourth quarter. But it took a long time. I mean, both teams were very physical, and I really, if the Cowboys can play with that level of effort, and that kind of physicality for a couple more games and get into the Super Bowl, I think they could win the Super Bowl. Because
I think they could too.
Because I don't see. I think there's more talented teams than them. Mm-hmm. The Rams might be more talented than them.
Yeah.
The Saints might be more talented than them. Mm-hmm. But can they play at that level of effort and be as physical as the Cowboys are willing to be?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they have a good shot. I mean, obviously I was going for the Ravens, but everybody knows how that turned out. We won't talk about it. Yeah. Even though it was a closer game than most people thought it would be. The Ravens had a chance with 45 seconds left to tie it up. That's fucking amazing.
The Ravens actually, there was one call in that game that cost the Ravens a lot of time.
Yeah.
And that, towards the end of the game there, and that, I think if they would, if the Ravens would have had 25 more seconds, they probably would have tied that game up. If not,
won it.
Went for 2 and won it.
I know. Because
they were very close, towards the end of that game.
Yeah. But getting back to the Cowboys, I think they do have a chance. They have a real good shot of winning the Super Bowl. But here's Dak Prescott has got to be on point for them to do that.
Yeah.
Like their defense can play as great as they have been. Ezekiel Elliott can get 150 yards and score 2 touchdowns, and they could still lose the game.
Yeah.
Like Dak Prescott, they can run the ball, play good defense, but when it comes down to him making a throw and making the right read, that's like the part that gets me about the Cowboys.
I do agree with you on that because the runs, and not only the runs, but like Dak Prescott scrambling and making a good throw.
Yeah.
But also his runs towards the second half of that game.
Yeah.
Elevated the Cowboys to another level, big time.
Definitely.
And there's not, the thing about that is that Dak Prescott's a big guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not the biggest quarterback, but he's a pretty big, physical, strong guy.
Yeah, he's pretty well put together.
And, I don't want him taking too many hits, but he is capable of taking the game over running the football too. And they, he kind of unleashed that a little bit last week, but I really do agree with you that it was his, like Ezekiel Elliott actually said that, that Dak Prescott, his play was, was legendary last week.
Yeah, yeah.
And really, when you look at what he does and what he's able to do, you know, if he plays like that, the Cowboys are pretty much unstoppable.
Yeah.
But like because of everything else, he has to play like that.
Yeah. I mean, if yeah, like that's the thing. Like, the Cowboys are a team. Like with the Chiefs, their defense can play terrible and they can still win by 20 because they have that good of offense.
The Chiefs and the Saints,
the Rams, I guess too.
Rams, they can make mistakes in the game and still win the game.
Yeah,
they can. Their quarterback. They've actually done it this year, right? Where their quarterback has thrown like a pick six, and they ended up losing the game.
Yeah.
Or they ended up winning the game, right?
Yeah.
So, all of those other teams have the talent to overcome things like that. The Cowboys, if they make mistakes where they put their defense in a hole,
yeah.
First of all, that's the only way other teams are going to be able to score on the Cowboys defense.
Mm.
If they have to go 80 yards,
yeah,
they're not going to score on the Cowboys defense.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, it's not going to be a whole game thing.
No,
that's going to be.
It might happen one time throughout the game where the teams are able to do that. But
yeah,
but I also, they call it complementary football, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That the Cowboys have to play the most complementary football to be to be able to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they have to control the football, have time of possession, and just dominate that side of the ball.
Don't give up big plays in the special teams.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
I mean, every team with the right mindset can overcome some mistakes, but they can't be glaring mistakes for the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like when they played the Colts last game, which is the only game they've lost in the last half of the season.
Yeah.
They had the ball a lot within the Colts 20-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
They just made mistakes and didn't capitalize, like holding calls and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were right there. They were physically in the game. They were right there, ready to score, different things like that.
Yeah.
But those little mistakes, hurt them a lot.
So obviously you got the Cowboys in this weekend's game. This will be the last thing.
Yeah.
But what's your game prediction? What's the score by game prediction? How do you think the game's gonna go?
Versus the Rams?
Yeah. Do you think it's gonna be lopsided towards the Cowboys? Do you think it's gonna be a back and forth affair, or do you think special teams is gonna play a huge part for the Rams or the Cowboys? Or
I think this is my prediction.
Mm-hmm.
The Cowboys, the first half of the games, the Cowboys defense has been dominating the games. Mm-hmm. So, last week against the Seahawks, the Cowboys dominated the first half, and they were still only ahead 10-6 at halftime or something like that.
Okay.
And because the Cowboys scored late in the first half, the Seahawks could have been ahead, 6-3 at halftime. With the Cowboys dominating the game. Yeah. And if, I predict the first half is going to be like that, where it's 3-0, 6-3 at halftime.
And even the Rams might be winning.
Maybe the Rams might be winning. I don't care which team is winning. If the game can be like that in the first half, which I think it will be, because the Cowboys are going to take Gurley out of the game. I mean, and not that they're going to try to hurt him or anything like that. I didn't mean that. Yeah, but they're going to, their defense knows that, they're going to try to make the Rams one-dimensional. Yeah, because ultimately the Cowboys believe that their defensive line is good enough to get pressure on any quarterback. Yeah. And I believe they can do that with the Rams too. So they're going to try to make the Rams one-dimensional, and the game might open up a little bit more and score a lot of more points in the second half. Yeah. But by that point, the Cowboys offense will have taken over a little bit, worn down the Rams defense. And, my prediction is the Cowboys win a close, hard-fought match, maybe 24-17 or something like that.
So a close game. I think it's going to be like that too. I think it might even be more defensive minded. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 10-14.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Cowboys defense plays outstanding because they have to against the Rams.
Uh-huh.
But I also think the Rams defense plays outstanding as well too. I think Aaron Donald will step up and have a big game. The Rams have Akeem Talib back, so I think that's him matching up and kind of shadowing where Amari Cooper is
Mm-hmm.
going to be huge. And so I think it's going to be a defensive battle too. I don't think there's going to be very many points scored. If there are going to be a lot of points scored, I think the Rams will win. I don't think Dallas can play that game. You know,
right? And in general, of the teams that are left, even the Kansas City Chiefs, people, talk negatively about the Chiefs' defense and the Patriots' defense and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the teams that win in the postseason are the teams that play the best defense.
Oh yes,
and
definitely.
All of these teams are good because even with bad defenses, they can take away what the other team does.
Yeah.
What the other team does the best.
Yeah.
Is going to get taken away in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have a response to that, it's like good luck taking away like Ezekiel Elliott from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
They're still going to give him the ball 30 times.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
He's going to get his 150 yards because they're just going to impose their will on you like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can take one away, you're probably going to win the game.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
But I mean, it's like that's the type of defense that I see. Although with all of the big, huge offensive outbursts and stuff this year, I still think it comes down to the defense in the playoffs.
Oh yeah,
I really do.
Well, there you have it. Do you have anything you want to plug before?
I would just like to say I want to apologize to Gene Risdall in advance for the Cowboys beating the Rams. I still love you, Gene. I hope you love me afterwards. But there's no hard feelings either way. I hope you can still find your way to being a good friend to me after the Cowboys beat the Rams. So.
Well, there you have it. There you have a solid Cowboys prediction. You have a little bit of friendship malice for Andy Schafer and myself, Noah Schafer. This has been another episode of What's Happening. If you guys want to follow me on any social media, my Instagram is thiccboinoah, thiccboinoah. On Snapchat and Twitter, it's schaf_Noah. Go ahead and give me shouts outs on there. If you guys want to be on the podcast, let me know. I'm always down to talk to new people. But thanks for watching, guys. See you later.